So anyways, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, here we are. This is your first ever real bonus content. Some of it was called bonus content, but it was really just bad. It's just bad stuff. Just so that hey, we'll call it bonus content and then they won't be able to complain. This though, this is real bonus content. This is me coming and being really vulnerable. I'm coming out there to you guys. I'm bringing dads in and they're going to teach me how to be mentally tough because I'm not sure if I've got it in me. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. We're going to learn. Maybe today, maybe it's going to take a couple times. But we've asked back our good friend Todd, and he's from the Toke and Muddle Podcast, what is I'm sure one of the fastest growing cannabis based podcasts in America at this point in time. And you should definitely check that out if that swings up your alley. We are open to all different kinds of lifestyles on your two dads. So we support him and what he's doing, and we hope you do too. And as far as that goes, I guess I'm going to kick it to him, and he's going to let us know what he thinks about mental toughness and how he got it and how I can get it. So teach me, Sensei.
Hi. First off, we're the fastest growing in Belize. I don't know about America.
Hey, it's always cool when you've got like crazy countries like that.
Yeah, and I think they're bots, but I'll take it.
Hey, whatever.
Thank you for mentioning Toke and Muddle. We actually do have. I got 3 episodes in the bank, man. I can't believe it. First time ever that I'm behind because of editing.
Right on. But that's a good thing to be. You don't want to be like worrying about scheduling the next one. You want to let that come when everybody's just kind of able to get back in there.
Right. Well, that's why I'm like you. I don't do live stuff. I like to record because I'm lazy and I want to do it whenever the hell I want. Not like, oh shit, I got to hurry and do it by, I got Thursday at 7. I got to hurry.
Yeah. Not to get off topic, but like, what's his name? Ross's thing. He like kind of wants me to be a, like a live kind of guy. And I'm like, oh, man, I can't commit to live. Like, it might come and I'm just like, I don't really feel like doing it, bro. I just don't feel like doing it. So, that's how I am.
I will for like, if you wanted to go live, I would do it, but as for me and my own stuff, nah, I want to piddle. I want to make sure I got plenty of time and I like what I like before I hit the publish button.
Yeah. I mean, there's times where you, not you, but like where one will get a little bit crazy in what they're sharing. And, it's better just to cut that on out. So
I've had one of those. It was a lady who got, and then she didn't green light the episode. I always make sure to get the green light. Yeah, man. Yeah, we emailed for like 2 weeks straight, and she talked about how she loved it, and can't believe that there's a show out there like that. And like I was a different kind of stoner, and I'm like, oh, it sounds good. And then I got everything edited, and I was ready to publish. And I was like, hey, you got, I sent it to her, sent her the preview of the finished product, and I was like, just give me the green light, and I'll publish it. And I haven't heard. She quit talking. Left the Facebook group and everything. And I'm like, oh, all right.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm definitely.
She got some rants in. She had a nice book, but she got some rants in for sure.
Right on. Well, I will continue not to ask for the okay. I take them coming on the show as just carte blanche to do whatever I want after that. It's better to ask for forgiveness.
Sometimes, man, but the one episode that goes viral is the one time that I didn't actually, like great. The one time I didn't get permission is the one that actually
the one you got to pull.
Yeah, the one that you got to pull, exactly. And as mental toughness, man, I don't know. There's some things with your kids that you'll never be prepared for. Yeah, I like to think I'm mentally tough, but like just before I came out here, I was late because whenever I was taking a shower, the kid was freaking out because he loves bath time now. And so he thought he was missing out, I'm in there in the bathtub and I'm in there taking a shower and he was like, bullshit, I want to take a bath too. So he smashed his damn fingers in the bathroom door trying to get in.
Oh.
And my brain is like, part of me is like, that's what you get. But the other part of me is like, the sobbing little girl, or I felt like a tween. Like, my baby, man, my baby's hurt. He's crying. But the other part of me is like, well, that's what you get, man. I told you to stop.
I feel that. That's the way, like, Jackson does that like a lot of times where he will, whatever it is, I'm like, don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. And then he does it. And my first reaction is like, you dumb ass. Like, I told you.
Was it worth it?
And then he's like,
did it work?
Yeah. But he's immediately like, daddy, kiss it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean that. I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that that's like not, a thing that I need to concern myself with. Like, that's a pretty normal dad thing.
Yeah. I think so. If you're a good dad, anyways, there's other dads out there that's just like throw dirt on it, or don't even give a shit that their kid's crying, or not even home with their kid, I guess. But I definitely have to toughen up. I definitely had to toughen up because I was not expecting these parent emotions, parent feelings. And I couldn't explain it to anybody either. I was trying to explain it to a buddy of mine. I'm like, dude, you just need to have kids, man. There's no other way to explain it.
It is parenting, and there's so many things tied to parenting that really are more explainable to someone that's experienced it than to someone that you just gotta like. It's like describing color to a blind person sometimes, where they just have no basis of comparison. One thing did streak across my mind as far as mental toughness. Just like let's say that you personally, you've had I don't want to call up any kind of particulars because I don't want to speak that out into the world. But let's say you've had a bad month, just thing after thing has gone wrong, and you're at your breaking point, so to speak, which I'm sure you have been in life, from time to time. What do you do? How do you recover from that? How do you keep on fighting without doing what I do sometimes, which is basically asking my wife for help and shutting down for whatever period of time?
I think it's because I know I'm his future. I don't know if that makes sense. I like me growing up, my dad was tough on me, and I hated my old man for a very, very long time. But I mean, I loved him because he's my dad. But he's an asshole. And the older I got, the more I realized he was doing it because the world's tough, man. And he knew that I was going to be on my own at some point. Being, I think it's different for guys or having a son, because the world's different for a man than it is for a woman. Some women have it rough. Well, it's both ways. Some men, some women have it rough. Some men, some women have it good. But my dad knew that we were going to be poor and shit was going to be tough, so he made me tough. And that he didn't do it by babying me or making sure that I got up on my own. I guess I don't know. He wanted me to do it myself, and it kind of backfired now because here I am, 40 years old, and my dad's like, I made you too independent. Come the fuck around, come visit me. You're too independent. I made you too tough. And I never would have realized it until he said it, which also my dad's gotten soft. The older he gets, the softer my dad gets, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, my dad he was always a badass growing up, but now that, I say it's like the Grinch, his heart grew. Never in my life would I think my dad would have a fucking lap dog. And he's got a dog in the house that's right next to him all the damn time. They go everywhere. That dog's seen more of America than I have. Never in a million years would I guess that from my old man. But I want to take some of that and find a comfortable middle for raising my sons. Like I want them to be independent, but I also want them to know that I love them. I'll never abandon them. And I'm being a hard ass for a reason. There's a point to it. It's not just me wanting you to pick up the damn tomato or clean your room or whatever the hell it is. There's a reason. There's a method to all the madness. And I think that's what keeps me Mentally tough. I really don't think I'm mentally tough, homie, because any any given second, something happens to one of my boys and I'll cry probably. But then again, somebody kicked in the door right now trying to rob us. I'm gonna fuck them up.
It
So
is a strange. It's a fine line.
It's a fine line for sure. Even more so, like when it's the kid involved, it's a whole different mindset when the kid's involved. Because I definitely have like you were saying earlier, like you stupid motherfucker. I told you, damn it. You don't listen. But then again, that's more of a 10 years old, 8 years old, when he can actually communicate and understand. Where now, being a 2-year-old, he's still satisfying his own needs. He's not really understand that dad's saying no because I'm going to mash the shit out of my finger.
Yeah. He doesn't connect one to the other.
Right. So did I answer your question, man? I ramble a lot and I haven't even smoked yet, man.
I'm getting it out of you. I'm getting where it came from, and I'm getting where you place most of the importance of it. How do you, first and foremost, like, I guess, my thought is that your mental toughness, such as it is, came from a lot of how your dad raised you. And my dad did not really have a part in raising me at all. So I'm sure that put me behind the 8 ball, for a little bit. But how do you talked about finding a happy medium, and we didn't really get into specifics of how your dad raised you, and I don't know that we necessarily need to unless it's pertinent. But how do you plan to, give your child that toughness that they need to face the world, while also, being there for them, and knowing that they can always, like, it, I want you to stand alone, but at the same time, you're always going to be able to fall back on me. Like, how do you plan, if you've thought about it at all, how do you plan to walk that line?
Well, I definitely do it by, like, most of it's me. Like, I have to get mentally tough not to just run to him and pick him up when he falls, or like give him a chance, right? Like, he's walking towards the steps. I'm like, he's probably about to eat it, but I have to give him a chance to listen to me or notice for himself. Like, I have to be mentally tough to be like, just have a little patience, see how it plays out. But then if, like, he does falls off his bike or something, like, I'm not just going to rush to him and pick him up, but I'll make sure I'm there and give him words of encouragement. And if he can't do it himself, then I'll leave, I'll put a helping hand. But for the most part, I want him to have me in his head. And we all know that we're not, sad but true, we're not all going to be here forever. And me growing up, a lot of times what kept me out of bullshit or getting in trouble when all my other buddies are like, let's jump off this bridge. In my head, I could hear my old man. Or I think to myself, if I did that, my dad's going to kill me. Or, dad's going to be disappointed, or dad's going to get pissed, or dad's going to, bust my ass, whatever it was. And I want that, but I don't want it to be something of violence, I guess, even though my dad didn't murder me or nothing like that. Yeah, I think he only spanked me twice growing up, but that's all I needed, man. But I want it to be like, dad's got me. What would dad do? Or dad's not going to approve of that. So I think the way that I'm going to prepare him for the world is to get my voice in his head. And I want him to know everything. Anything and everything I know, he's going to know. Plus, whatever he becomes interested in, I'll learn about and do my best to teach him about.
Right on. I like how this has already kind of broadened the definition of mental toughness, and how you can, like, look at it, and where it comes into play in your life, a father specifically, and just a man in general. I am, I'm still hoping that I get to a point where I am comfortable. Like, I'm sure that I've got a little bit of mental toughness. I'm sure that the Army, like, pounded that into me in some way, shape, or form, or, like I was homeless for a while, like at least I'm resilient, if nothing else. And so I'm hoping that maybe I'm just not giving myself enough credit, and that this whole thing, all these interviews are just me blowing a little problem out of proportion. But at the same time, if I can learn anything that's going to make me, you know, tougher emotionally and psychologically, that's an improvement. My I've mentioned a couple times, being I hate to call it this because it's like there's way worse people, but I'm a disabled veteran on disability, blah blah blah, and it's all due to well, nearly all of it is due to just being fucked up in the head. And I I'm like, I try different tactics, I've tried different medications, and nothing really works for me, and every day is just a struggle. And I feel like part of that comes from not being quite mentally tough enough, and maybe that's just an old, old school '50s style generalization, going back to men are tough, and that's the end of it. But I feel like just by and large, I could be tougher. I could handle things a little bit easier, just things that I feel like wouldn't necessarily bother somebody else will happen to me, and it's just like, man, it takes me like an indeterminate time to recover from that and get back on an even keel. And that, to me, it speaks to a lack of mental toughness. And I just don't want my son to have to deal with things like this. I'm doing all I can to build him up and compliment him and be loving and everything that I don't remember getting myself, like stories at bedtime and just regular things that I know for a fact that I missed out on. I'm hoping that some of this stuff is having an effect on his mental stability and on his resilient nature, such as it is. But when it comes down to really like what your dad did, and it is a fine line, but like I feel like your dad, he kind of had sort of had the right idea about things, like obviously he didn't go about it really the right way, but it is the dad's responsibility to make sure their kids are tough enough to face the hardships that they're going to encounter. And I just did not get that. My parents taught me to just hide in alcohol or drugs or whatever. When the bill came, I was straight up, word for word advised to just not pay credit card bills, because eventually they'd stop contacting you and you could just get another one. And that's the type of advice I got growing up. So, I'm here doing these, these with you to try and, get a better idea of, what a good, quote unquote, also quote unquote tough dad does. And so, this talk with you is definitely, already kind of broadened my knowledge base and allowed me to see things from a different point of view. But I think, I said I wanted to keep these a little bit shorter than normal, and I do want to end on one thing, and that is, do you consider yourself to be mentally tough? How do you feel about the state of your mental toughness?
Yeah, to answer your question, yes, I do, but I also know that you can't prepare for everything, and there are things that will happen with my kids that I won't be able to tolerate. I won't be able to, like, I'm gonna have to go in the room by myself and cry or let it out, or but in that moment, if my kid is there in the room, I will do my best to hold my own, because I want them to know that our brains and our minds are very, very powerful. And like, I don't know if it was you I was talking to about this before. I think we've said it before on our show, but like, most people die from a gunshot wound because they go into shock. It's not because of the actual wound. It's because they kill themselves mentally. They they keep thinking to themselves, "Oh shit, I'm shot." So the brain throws their body into shock and they die. So I tried to do my best to remember, I have to keep myself in check. Yeah, not only for myself now, but for my children. I have to be here. I need to be here. Like the same thing with, going to the bar on the weekend and getting into a fight, or the stupid shit I used to do. Like we go drive fast cars, or whatever the hell we used to do. I won't do it anymore because my kids need me. Piss on whatever somebody says. My kids are at home. You talk all the shit you want about me. I'm not. I'm just going to let it roll off my back because I have to go home. I need to go home to my kids. I don't need to be in the hospital. I don't need to be in jail. And saying that, and I'm no psychiatrist, but I think that could be part of yours. Like, it is a huge deal for children to have their father in the home as they grow up. A huge deal. And that could be part of your chemical imbalance, is that you didn't have a father growing up, so it fucked with you. And my dad was one of the toughest people I know, man. Military wise, like he was a bad man. He did some stuff for some criminals. Like if you seen him pull up, you knew that you owed some money and he was about to take it out of your ass, He was a bad motherfucker, but he was chemically imbalanced too. So he suffered from depression. He suffered from being lonely. He wasn't lonely, but he had a lot of, just like you were saying, man, you're a disabled veteran. And so I know you're a tough motherfucker, but there's something about the chemicals in our brain that no matter how tough we are, it's still going to make us feel like we're inadequate. And we're not. We're here. We're doing it, man. You're with your son every day. There's no way I know you're tough. I just know you are, man. We have to be in order to, even more so whenever people give me shit for being a stay-at-home dad, like say whatever you want, man. You're not doing it. Look at the joys I get to have every single day while you're out breaking your fucking back. I mean, I understand the respect of bringing home a paycheck and whatnot, but I'd much rather be a poor motherfucker and be here with my kids than rich and gone all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't get around the masculine angle of being a stay-at-home dad and how people are going to look at that. But at the same time, man, fuck you, bro, because like I enjoy being home with my son and being able to personally be the one shaping him day after day, all day long, and being the biggest influence on him. Like I know that I have good intentions, the best intentions. I know that there's only one person in this world that might love him more than me, and that if she can't be here, then it's a good thing I am, because he's in the best position that he can be. One more thing though, I do want to close it on this. So for you, when things get tough, when you are super depressed for whatever reason, and you're arguing with your wife, you got money issues, whatever the case may be, what you and correct me if I'm wrong here, because this is me kind of putting this into words. What you do to kind of keep yourself on track and to keep yourself from getting too far down is just kind of referring back to your kids and taking strength from the fact that they need you, and that anything that you might be going through is essentially for them. Am I like too far off base with that?
Yeah, and things that I might not be going through, like I don't know, say you got rich and invited me to your yacht, but my kids got a recital. Like there's also things that you give up. It's not just stuff that you include. There's also things that you give up for your kids. But yeah, I definitely agree that yes to your question.
Right on.
Nothing better than these kids. Nothing.
It is, and I totally feel that. There are times when, not to get too dark, but I'm like, I just want to put a gun in my mouth. But I know that the odds of my wife finding another man that loves my son as much as I do, it's just basically zero. There's
no, man,
almost no chance in the world. And
yeah, you can even debate that she loves your kids more than you do, and that's their mother.
Yeah. So it's like, if nothing else, that's what keeps me going. Like I might be super depressed that day, or whatever the case may be. I might fucking wish I was dead. For whatever reason, I might be like, God, why couldn't I just not wake up today? But when it comes down to it, I keep pushing for him, and I keep trying to do everything I'm doing better every day, for him. And I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I don't know if maybe that's some kind of pressure that I would be somehow putting on him.
Man. But I also do it because I want to see, like, not only do I want to be there for my kids and make them have a good life, I want to see what they choose. I want to see how their life turns out. Who do they pick to marry? I mean, heaven forbid, and I might catch some shit for this, but I don't want my kid to be gay, but he might be. I want to see if he turns out to be gay. I want to see if he likes baseball. I want to see if he likes football. Did the motherfucker go wakeboarding, or does he prefer to stay inside and read? Can he make a hell of a soup? These are all things that I'm going to do my damnedest to find out. If I got to get a colonoscopy, if I got to go rob a bank, whatever I got to do to make these things, to make it where I live long enough to see these things. That's what I'm shooting for.
Right on. I was just wondering, are those things that you've actually in your daily life just thought about? Like, I wonder if he will like baseball, and I want to stick around to see that. Or like, were the things that you were naming like things that you have actually thought of, or were you just like spur of the moment, like this and that and the other?
No, these are definitely. And to get a little weird, like me and their mother both have had dreams of our kids in the future. And
really?
Definitely. Like she's got one where, and it's got a different name on the back of the jersey because we're not married, and like she's got her last name, I got mine, and the kids have both, But in her dream, one, and we thought it was, until we had the second one, we were like, oh shit, maybe it's this one we were dreaming of. Where the first one was like, oh, it's got to be him, but now we're like, which one was it? But anyway, she had a dreamer, and she hates sports, man. But she had one of our sons is, got long blonde hair, and she can see the back of him, and she could see her last name on the back of his jersey. And he loved football. He was playing football. So we kind of, it's not really a bet, but it's kind of one of those things like we're going to be sitting in the bleachers one day and we're going to get the goosebumps like, oh shit, there it is. There's our dream. It was such and such, oh hell, we thought it was going to be Henry, but it turns out it's Alex.
That's really cool. It would be really cool to have any kind of dream about my son, as long as it was a positive one. But to have a dream about him as like, a young man, that would be akin to like those dreams where you're able to fly, or like, like beat up the bad guys. Like, not to get too off topic, but like when I'm in a fight in my dream, like I don't punch. Like it's like I'm punching through goo, and then I hit him with my wrist or something. Like, but if it's like a good dream, I'm like beating fuckers' asses. Like, like that's how I know it's a good dream, because I'm actually able to connect with my blows. But anyway, seeing my son, in a future sense like that, doing something successful, that would be a really positive dream. I wish that I had good dreams like that, but by and large, my dreams are very depressing, very dark. But anyways,
manifest it, homie. You gotta, don't manifest the dark shit. You gotta manifest the good stuff.
I'm trying to put out the. I am actively making an attempt to control my thoughts here lately. My anxiety was getting this might not even make it to this podcast, but my anxiety was just through the roof from some things that we're going through right now. Like, just I felt panic attacks, like knocking at the door like 2 or 3 times over the past week. And so I've really tried to just focus on exclusively being in the moment, very like a Zen, very stoic, just like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Don't dwell on it. Don't, just focus on what's in front of you, blah, blah, blah. And it is helping, control my anxiety for the most part. And I'm hoping I won't say I'm expecting, because I don't expect good things in life, but I'm hoping that this becomes a habit. I've read about these things for years and years. Like, I've read about Buddhism and Stoicism just for years. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Buddhist and I'm Stoic, but like, I'm not, because I've never tried to consistently do those practices. But here lately, I really am trying. And I've seen, a little bit of improvement as far as like my anxiety dropping. So hopefully I will get enough improvement that I'm then able to do what you said and, positively, put things out there and visualize things in a more upbeat nature. Because right now it's just like I'll get a phone call that I don't recognize the number and I'm like, fuck, who's this? What have I done now? What are they, what's going on with this? It's never like, ooh, is this a new friend? It's always like, oh my God, what is this? And what have I done wrong?
That's on you. It's up to you to spin it to your interpretation. Everything, every little thing is up to you to spin it to your liking. And yeah, it's taken me a while to make it my benefit, I guess. But I've learned I definitely think positive things. I want to manifest good things in the future, and I do my best to see them in my head and then let them come to play. But I also know that, like, if something bad happens, like I tell myself that, well, this was worse than that, and I made it through that, or this fucked me up for 2 months, and I made it through that. I use that a lot. I use my past experience a lot to help me get through the bullshit I'm going through currently. Like, I know I can make it because I did this. That but didn't
not to get not to get too scientific, but my last therapist, that was her tactic. She used, she had me list like things that I had accomplished, and then it didn't last long, as things in the VA do. Like, for whatever reason, I fucking stopped getting seen. But that was her way of doing things. It's just like, oh, you graduated high school and you graduated college and da 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 da, and
Piss on that. No, I'm saying, I think one of them nights when you're in a foxhole or something, think about some military stuff, or like I've had some where, like, I've been shot at, or I've been put in the hospital, or things that really almost fucking broke you. Like, there was times where I'm laying in ICU and even the nurse is like, I hope I see you in the morning. And that long night of being in my head, since I made it through the night, it prepares me for things to come. Like, oh man, we got 3 doctor's appointments this week with 2 kids, and one of them's got this problem. One of them's gonna. I'm like, I can handle that. That ain't as bad as an ICU bed. I can handle that.
So you were doing ICU bed. You were kind of doing what she did, but like at the exact opposite. So it was
don't do these it with awful things. Graduating, well, I mean, like, no big deal.
Instead of listing your accomplishments, you listed the tragedies that you endured and that you lived through.
Damn right. Damn
right. So you looked at it from the opposite side of the spectrum, so to speak. And that is, I will never hopefully have things approaching what you've just mentioned. But I have had some tough times before, so it might be that's a tactic I could use, for certain whatever events that I might encounter in the future. But that is basically the extent of this. I don't know how the next episode with whoever might mutate into something different, but that's how this one's going to go. We basically touched on everything I wanted to touch on, and you've taught me some techniques and some given me some stuff to think about. So I do appreciate that. Is there anything you wanted to say before we kick out of here?
Yeah, man. Obviously, anytime you're like, hey, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yep. Oh, Corey's asking? Yep. But also, call me anytime, man. Anytime that you're like, hey, I need good vibrations, or I just need somebody, like, I found a spot on my nutsack. Would you?
Can I send you a picture of it?
No, that's a little bit. Take that to your fucking doctor, homie. But I'm serious, man. Like, anytime you're feeling down or the gun in the mouth fucking comes up, call me.
Right on, man. Well, I do appreciate that. I mean, I'm not like, don't be surprised if I don't bother you, because I'm weird like that. Like, when I need it the most is when I'm least likely to ask for it. But it's good to hear that the offer's, there to be had. So thanks for that. And the same goes for you. I mean, obviously you are at least to all appearances in a better place emotionally, psychology, mentally than I am. But all the same,
I love life.
If anything pops up that that you want my opinion on, or you think that I can help you out with, feel free to do the same. And with that, I guess I will let you go. I'm going to go in here and see if my son's still up. He's he's sick today, so we're letting him kind of stay up a little bit longer just to. I guess just because we feel bad he's sick. I don't know. There's no real benefit to letting him stay up later. We just know that he doesn't want to go to bed. So
can be. And it's just the fact that y'all feel better about it, or you get some more time.
Yeah, if nothing else, we get to spend a little bit more time with him. So hopefully he's still up, and if not, then at least I got a good episode out of this. And once again, hey, thanks again. I'm really glad that you were the first one to do these because it was easy to do it with you. This might be the first time I've ever had an episode where I didn't get nervous beforehand, which is a new experience for me. So thanks for that. And thanks for everything that you shared. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, whoever listens to this gets as much of it or more than as much out of it or more than I did. So thanks for that. And take it easy. Have a good rest of your week. I'm sure I'll talk to you before too long, so I'm not necessarily going to say Merry Christmas, but I will say check you later.
Yeah, man. 10 days away, 11 days away from Christmas. Can't believe that.
Someone told me the years are like days and the days are like years. The older you get, and it really is like that. The days drag by, and then you turn around and it's fucking 2027 or some shit. Man, but that's just how it goes, I guess.
As long as we wake up every day, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean,
Tuesday or 8 o'clock, as long as we're here still.
As long as the world is here tomorrow, that's all I care about.
No, fuck the world. As long as we're here. I could be here on a different planet or something. I don't give a shit about that, but as long as we're here.
Okay, so right on. I'm digging that. I'm getting a little bit metaphysical, a little bit science fiction-y. So I can dig that.
Thank you for thinking that I actually have some kind of authority or higher knowledge than you about mental toughness. I appreciate that.
I just know that every person I talk to, I immediately assume that they are smarter and wiser and better than me at most things. And, I'm comfortable talking to you, and I had fun on our episodes before. So it was pretty much a no-brainer to get you on, because even if you were like, nah, bro, I'm mentally weak, like I let my wife do everything. Like I was still going to learn from it, and people were still going to get something out of it. So all the same, it worked out. And other than that,
I'm not worthy.
Well, I definitely disagree with that. I think you're more than worthy, but thank you for the compliment. And I'll talk to you later, man.
Sounds good, man. Later on.